Yes, my name is Charlene. I am from Texas. I love being from Texas because the weather there doesn't confuse me. Yeah, we have 2 seasons in Texas. Leaves on, leaves off. We're very efficient. If I'm here in Germany, fall is the drama queen of nature. It's flipping cold outside, but the leaves refuse to die. Yeah, it's like that, any kind of bad guy in a movie that they shoot 25 times, yet they're still crawling across the floor. Yeah, these leaves hanging out, green, a week later. Yellow. And then another week, still there. Red. And then finally, brown, no crap. And there are these people who say, oh, I have to live somewhere with 4 seasons. I think they're just greedy. Anyway, so I love being from Texas. I love the fact that I get to go back every now and then. It's fantastic. But I always have to do a lot of preparation before I go back because there are always questions. Questions like, oh, you live in Germany. Have you been to Oktoberfest? Yes. Have you smoked pot in the Netherlands? No. Comment. Those actually aren't the ones that really scare me. The questions that really scare me are about the pop culture, because inevitably I will be asked about something I have not yet seen. My sister calls me up and says, so, did you see How I Met Your Mother? Yeah. I was there. And for the record, she's your mother, too. Yeah. Oh, TV show. Yeah. So for you, your €500 ticket might just be a little hop across the pond. For me, it's that manic chance to cram in all the pop culture I possibly can so that I don't look stupid. Yeah. Because as an American, having lived in Germany for a while, when you go back, you get one of 2 reactions. And the first one is, oh. You live in Germany? Yeah. This happens when someone asks you if you've seen, say, the latest Twilight film, and your answer is, no. Yeah. So I myself prefer actually the alternative. I like to go back and have that air of international intrigue and mystique. To have people look at me and say, oh, you live in Germany. Yeah, because then you're like the cool little animal at the zoo that everyone wants to see and talk to. Yeah, that's what I prefer. So, I figured out a way to actually make this happen every time. You see, I get on the plane, and then I watch all of the documentaries, and I watch all of the foreign films, all of the things that will make me sound smart. Yeah. So that when I go back and someone asks me, have you seen the latest Twilight film? I can look at them and go, no. Have you seen Sacre Coeur de Bois? Darling little foreign film that came out of South Africa this year. Anyone with any kind of global perspective has seen it. When you're done watching your little vampire movie, you should check that out. Works every time. So when I went back to Texas this summer, actually, it was for my sister's wedding. She had asked me to be her maid of honor. However, I had flown in 1 week before the wedding. So I didn't get to help a lot with the preparation, and I'm thinking that by the time I get back, the only thing left for me to do is going to be tie ribbons on those stupid little bottles of bubbles and give her the sex talk. So I was a little bit panicked. But I thought, I'm going to get on the plane, I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm scrolling through my list of movies, figuring out how I'm going to get smart, right, for when I go back. When I came across The Cove. Don't know if you know about this little documentary, but it's a story of a story of an American man, actually, who takes on the Japanese fishing industry in this tiny little town in Japan, where they have been slaughtering these poor, sweet, innocent, defenseless dolphins for years. Completely horrible. Completely depressing. Completely a perfect choice for a transatlantic flight. What else was I going to do? Drink? No, I'm totally kidding. I did that too. Especially after this movie. 5 minutes in, I am bawling my eyes out to the point where the stewardess comes over to me and says, "Are you okay? I'm watching these dolphins being slaughtered. This is the most horrible thing I've ever seen." She says, "Well, we'll be eating dinner soon." Well, that's going to make me feel better. Airplane food, right, God. She looks at me and she says, "Do you want the chicken or the fish?" I'm watching dolphins being slaughtered, woman. Of course I want the chicken. So here I am thinking I made this morally conscious choice, right? She brings me my chicken dinner and crying, eating my chicken. I take the lid off of my salad and I find a chunk of salmon this big sitting on my lettuce. Yeah. I think I cried the rest of the way home. Anyway, it's very sad. Thank you. I did make it back though, fortunately. It was very good. My sister very kindly had offered to drive all the way up from the tiny cow town of Kingsville, Texas, all the way up to Dallas to pick me up. Very sweet of her. Of course, that meant a really, really long time to possibly have this little sex talk. Now, really, I was going to do her a favor. So you don't understand. I was a virgin when I got married.
What?
Probably because I asked my mother what sex was. My very British, very conservative mother. Yeah. She told me it was the box on an application that I check off to say whether I was male or female. As you can imagine, my wedding night was slightly less than exciting. Imagine my husband coming in, closing the door behind him, looking at me and saying, "So, sex?" And me looking at him very coyly and saying, "Female." That didn't really work. Shocker. I should probably mention at this time I am divorced. Yeah, so clearly that didn't work out. And I thought I was going to do my sister a favor. So we're driving in the car on the way back, and I'm dreading this. And she says, "Well, let's talk about the stuff we have left to do for the wedding." I think, oh, thank God, I don't have to discuss that now. Okay, good. "What do you have left to do?" She says, "Well, flowers. Great. Do we need to talk to the florist about delivery? Are we going to go pick them up? What's the plan?" She says, No. I need to order my flowers. We have 1 week until the wedding, and you haven't thought about your flowers yet? She says, "Oh, I've thought about them. I need 11 bouquets for the bridesmaids, a bouquet for me, a throwaway bouquet for me, a boutonniere for the groom, 11 boutonnieres for the groomsmen, about 18 boutonnieres and corsages for the madrinas and padrinas, oh, and about 4 big altar arrangements for the front of the church, and then 6 little ones for the windows on the sides." Oh, that's all. Oh my God. I realize I have bigger problems in the sex talk. Actually, my first job as maid of honor is going to be to take the bullet for the bride when she gives this list to the florist, because I'm about to be shot. Yeah. The whole rest of the way home, all we do is make lists. Until I realize, basically, I have 1 week to plan an entire wedding. There was a little bit of good news, though. Yeah. As it turns out, the florist she did have that checked off, actually. That should have been my first question, because I didn't know him very well yet either, so good call. Yeah, so the florist, as it turns out, was my sister's best friend's husband's mother. Convenient. Yeah, you got that? Joys of a small town. Everyone knows everybody. Yeah. Better news for me, she doesn't own a gun. Yeah. This is Texas, after all. And believe me, you never know. I I thought that was the worst of what was going to happen all week. No. 3 days before the wedding, we're driving in the car, and my sister all of a sudden says, at this point, groom, dress, oh my God, what have we forgotten? And I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's the sex. Maybe it's that, oh, jeez. What is it? What do you need? What do you want? She says, I want cocktail napkins. Now, my sister is not talking about the cute little brightly colored napkins you can just run into the store and go pick up. No. She's talking about the special wedding cocktail napkins. Do you know about these? They have the name of the bride and the groom and the date of the nuptials stamped in foil and some little picture symbolizing eternal love and happiness. I wouldn't know. I didn't have cocktail napkins at my wedding. Probably another reason I'm divorced. Anyway, yeah. I told her, I said, you don't just go into the store and buy cocktail napkins. You go to the store to buy the bridal magazine, to tear out the card about the napkins, and then, or if you're on a budget like she was, tear out the card, leave the magazine, run away from the store very quickly. Fine. Fill out the card, send it to China, wait for the samples to come back, approve your samples, send them back to China, wait for them to come back, arrange them around your drinks and your cake, and have a happy day. This process is going to take 2 months. My sister looks at me in my escalating state of panic, and she says, what are you talking about? We have a guy down the street. You live in a town of 150 people. And you mean to tell me that one of them happens to be cocktail napkin stamping guy? Okay then. She's like, yeah, we're gonna go over there now. Okay. So we're driving down the road. She pulls off in front of this abandoned garage that hasn't seen a living soul for years, and I start to get really scared, thinking, oh my God, this is gonna be like a drug deal and we're going to die. Because how are you gonna get napkins in 3 days? I mean, someone's gonna die. There's just no choice. We start walking up to the building, and I hear this really strange sound. This go. Like, oh God, what are we getting into? Like, I didn't know maids of honor had to do this. We walk around the back of the building and go inside, and I see a very old man with a light shining on his head, and he's doing this. Go. My friends, we have just met cocktail napkin stamping guy. Yeah, he does them himself, apparently. He asked my sister, so how many napkins would you like? She says, 300, please. This is 3 days before the wedding, for those of you keeping track. He says, okay, what color? She says, lilac. Well, everything, of course, he has is either 2 aubergine or 2 lavender. There's no lilac. He says, well, I have to go into town tomorrow anyway, so while I'm there, I'll just pick up some napkins. Now, my sister starts looking worried at this point, justifiably so, because to look at the man, you would know it's going to take him a day to walk to the car alone. So it's probably going to take him the next 3 days to drive to town and back. It is not looking good. And I think maybe my sister will say, you know what, we'll take 100 or something around here, we'll call it a day. No. My sister looks at him and says, well, if you have to go to town anyway to pick them up, I'll take 400. It was then that I had my first stroke of genius as maid of honor. I decided I was going to book an immediate flight to Las Vegas. And when I get to Las Vegas, I will rent the biggest van that I can possibly find. And then I'm going to drive the van to a casino, and I'm going to walk in and pull 20 old men off of slot machines and put them in my van and drive all the way back to Kingsville, Texas. Do you know why? Because slot machine pulling and cocktail napkin stamping is the exact same thing. Yeah. And if I put put on a short skirt and I pass out the occasional drinks and free peanuts, they might not even know they have left Las Vegas. Yeah. Give me 20 old men, I will give them 20 napkins each, and I will have 400 napkins stamped 20 minutes before